Morning. Wednesday, March 15th, 2023. Continuing a series of videos on old school versus new school baseball analysis. What do I mean? Divide baseball into two 75-year periods. 1870s through 1949, old school. 1950 through 2022, new school. Here's the question. I'm asking who played baseball better and accomplished more and provided more stats that indicate that they were superior. This video, pitching complete games. Which pitchers in these two eras had more complete games? So what I do is I take a 10-year period, a decade, find out which person had the most complete games for the season, the leader, and then average it out for the 10-year period. 1870s, the average of complete games, 51. Who had the most? Al Spalding had 65 complete games. 1880s, the average, 61 complete games. Who had the most? Listen to this. Charlie Radburn had 73 complete games in a season, a record. 1890s, complete games goes down to 46, still high. And Amos Rusi had the most, 59 complete games. 1900s, the average goes down, 38 complete games. And the most, Jack Chesbro had 48. 1910s, the trend here is going down on complete games. So in the beginning in the 1870s, they just pitched innings, and just completed the game. But by the 1910s, the average is 33. And who had the most complete games in that decade? Walter Johnson and Pete Alexander had 38 complete games. 1920s, the average, 29. Who had the most? Pete Alexander, Burleigh Grimes had 33 complete games. 1930s, the average, 26. And who had the most? Ted Lyons had 29 complete games. And so did Dizzy Dean. And then in the 1940s, the average, 25 complete games. And the most was by Bob Feller, 31. So the aggregate complete games for the first 75 years, 38 over a 75-year period, complete games by pitchers. I think it's quite interesting because in the 1870s, the average was 51. 1880s, it went all the way up to 61 complete games, average. And then by the 1940s, it goes down to 25. So the high was 61, and the low is 25 for the first 75-year period. Let's look at new school era after 1950. The 1950s, the average for complete games was 25. Who had the most? Robin Roberts, 33 complete games in a season. 1960s, the average, 24. Who had the most complete games there? Juan Marichal had 30 of them. 1970s, the average, 26 complete games by pitchers. And the most, Ferguson Jenkins and Steve Carlton had 30 complete games. 1980s, Something happened in the 1980s. The average was 15 complete games, almost half of where they started off with in the 1950s. The average in 1980, 15 complete games by pitchers. The high was Bert Blyleven, 24. 1990s, the average comes down again, 10 complete games. Who had the most? Pedro Martinez had 13. And in the 2000s, the average for complete games is only 7. And who had the high? Roy Halladay had 9 complete games. So isn't this interesting? The 1880s, the average was 61 complete games. And in the 2000s, the average goes all the way down to 7 complete games. What's going on? Why can't a pitcher complete the game? 9 innings. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, the aggregate complete games between 1950 and 2022, 17. What did I say old school was? 38. So old school wins again. And I have I've been adding it up, 13 offensive categories. And now this is the 4th pitching category. So 13 and 4 is 17 categories. Complete games. And what did I say again? Let me look it up again. Complete games. The aggregate for old school was 38, and the new school is 17. That means that the score right now, after 17 categories, old school 12, new school 5. And we still have strikeouts, shutouts, and ERA to look at. And we're going to look at the defense to see who is better on defense. So stay tuned for those videos. Thanks for watching. I'm out.